The spirit of Future Female Forward, the Women's Collective, thrives on diversity and the power it holds to drive positive change. As we celebrate women leaders who empower change, we are privileged to bring a conversation that epitomizes boldness and triumph. The audacious journey of a force to be reckoned within the realms of fashion and entertainment, from daring dreams to tangible achievements, her story embodies resilience and perseverance and teaches us how to embrace change. Without further ado, let's welcome the inspiring fashion designer, entrepreneur and actor, the fearless trailblazer herself, Masaba Gupta, for an insightful conversation on the audacity of ambition. Shereen, over to you.
You know, we've been trying to get Masaba to join us on Future Female Forward for a while, so I'm glad that we finally made it happen here in Mumbai. Thank you so much.
Forgive me. I swear I'm not that busy.
But thank you. It's wonderful to have you here. You know, the overarching theme this evening is the audacity of ambition. I think you really symbolize and embody that. But I want to get to how you got to this point, Masaba, because I was watching an old interview that you did where you said that when you were growing up, you didn't like who you were and you wanted to be somebody else. From there to the House of Masaba, to really, in that sense, not just owning your identity, but making it your life's work. It's obviously taken a lot of work to be able to get here. What was the process of being able to go from not liking yourself, not wanting to stand out, to now standing out as Masaba Gupta?
First of all, Shereen, I think I can give you a solid answer 10 years from now, but let me start somewhere. I think to begin with, I kind of got a bit tired of being mediocre, and I got a bit tired of being, you know, in my early days, I wasn't taking what I do very seriously. I was a fashion designer, and I didn't have the entrepreneur's mindset. You know, where I went to school, which is SNDT in Bombay, a lot of the girls who came to study fashion came there because their parents said, oh, you know, it's an all-girls college, it's safe, you know, it can be a little hobby, you can do a passion thing, and then you can get married. So I think we were 40 girls, and by the time we finished the course, we were 20 of us that were left because the rest got married. Because they said, now you've done one semester, you get it. I just think I went with that mindset that I'm going to do this till I settle down. Believe me.
The ominous words.
Yes. And then when I was 25, I remember I started getting very stressed out about getting married because I didn't have a boyfriend. And obviously all the boys were interested in the girls who looked different and not me. So I said, you know, Mom, I have to find someone. You have to get an arranged rishta done for me.
Are you serious?
Yes. And this is how much society can really mess with your brain if you don't have a brain that's evolved enough. And I said, no, but I need him to be, you know, earning this much money, and he should be from a business family. So put me in SP Jain, Institute of Management, so that I meet someone from a business family. And she was shocked, and literally everything I did from the age of 25 to 26, I would work some 3-4 hours a day. I wasn't very interested. I said, chal raha hai. I get the press. When I do a show, I have 1 or 2 odd Bollywood stars wearing my clothes when I do a new collection. It was all very much sort of on autopilot.
So what changed?
I got married and got divorced. And that happened. And then I had to pay for my own life. That changed. So that was a big turning point. And I really believe that for girls, the age of 28 is such an interesting time in their life. I don't know if everyone agrees, but I think that time, if you don't make the right personal choice, you can go very wrong in your professional world. And I was freshly divorced and suddenly very lost, and I had to put all the interest and all my focus back into my work because I said, I need something to focus on. And that's when I said, you know, I'm done being this little designer who's sort of this kid who has celebrity parents and gets press and everyone's curious because of that. I'm going to make something out of this. Let's become let's make the House of Masaba something more than what it is. And that's what changed. I think I just discovered my own potential. And it really takes for a lot of just constantly falling down and lots of personal failure, lots of sort of taking your life back into your own control to say that, you know what, you got to do this on your own. And I said, I'm not going to be a flash in the pan. I think I had been doing what I was doing for a couple of years then. It was not really a business that made money, and it was I was comfortable living with my mother. And it was also comfortable. I think one has to get uncomfortable, and that divorce made me so uncomfortable that something could go so wrong. And that's it. I just decided to say, I will from now be an entrepreneur, and I'll put all my energies and focus everything that I have on this.
You know, that's interesting that you say that you need to get out of your comfort zone and need to feel deeply uncomfortable for you to make a beginning and for you to also truly understand who you are as an individual and realize your true potential. And from there, you're now what, almost 10, 15 years on of launching
15 years.
15 years on of your career. You've got Aditya Birla Fashion on board as a significant investor. You're part of the ABFRL family now. And you're doing new things. You know, and I have to say, this is an interesting thing. When I saw Love Child, you know, it made me smile because for me it was a woman who was taking control of her life, who was reclaiming her identity. Did you think about it that way?
Absolutely, because you know what happened was, I'll tell you how Love Child was born. The name first came to me because I remember I did a very deep interview about my work with a very senior journalist in Delhi, and I remember reading it, and the introduction said, Masaba Gupta, the love child of Nina and Viv. And then I said, that's interesting, and where's the rest? Do I do anything else? Or am I just a love child, you know? And then I read up all the interviews that had happened before that. Majority of them introduced me like that. And there was one where there was a magazine cover where I looked very sad, like I had just cried or something, and the headline was The Love and Longing of Love Children. And it was my face and Pratik Babbar's face, I'll never forget. And I said, wow, this is really what people think. No matter what you do as a woman, you're sort of put in this box. Maybe not a man-woman thing also really, Shereen. I think it's across the board. I think it happens to everyone. And I said, you know what? They seem to really like that term. The press really likes that term, so let me turn it on its head and give them a brand out of it. And I didn't know, thank you. I didn't know what I would do with Love Child, but all I knew was that I literally called up my office and I said, trademark this, I'm going to do something with it. And
you have done something with it.
I have done something with it. It's been a year and a half since Love Child, which is my beauty brand, is now live and kicking in the market. And I'm very possessive about it. And now, I guess they have to find another introduction for me.
Well, I can think of plenty ways of introducing you, but you know, it's interesting that you brought up this experience that you had and turned it into something good. Because I remember watching a Taylor Swift interview where she says exactly this. The press had painted her into this serial dater, can't keep a man, and so on and so forth. And she actually took all of that and channeled it into one of her biggest hit songs. And I think...
But you know, that's what I have to say. I think when a man does it, it's hot. When he has multiple women, it's like, oh, he must be so good at what he does. But a woman is just easy. She's loose. She's not focused. She's thinking about men. And you know, this is the thing. I feel like with women especially, you have two choices in life. You can either find what has happened and really cry over the spilt milk and be miserable for the rest of your life and be a complaint box. Or you can turn something negative into something extremely positive. And I think that power most often lies in our control. It does.
Well, you know, speaking of power and speaking of changing the course of the way that your life has turned out, acting, you know, and who would have thought that you who had, in your words, doubts about what you look like, and you know, and I find this thing interesting where you said that you don't believe that you would fit into roles where men would want to romance you. You ended up doing one of the trending series on Netflix in 2021. How did that come about?
I think it was the universe saying, you know what, here's your gift for everything that I've put you through and for everything that you've gone through in your head and for everything you've believed for all these years in your head. This is my little present to you. I really believe that because Masaba came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere. It came because the producer looked at my Instagram and she thought I was funny and I had a sense of humor. And she thought that my life might be interesting to play out on the big screen. Not as a reality show, as something called a mockumentary, which hadn't been done in India. So, we were kind of lost. We said we don't even have a reference for what that means. I don't have a reference for what the treatment of the show will be. And I don't want it to be like another reality show where you're in my bathroom. I didn't want it to be that. So I think it literally came about because today I can say that after 2 seasons of it happening, it came about because I had the ability to be myself, especially on social media. I wasn't playing up to an image. I wasn't hiding behind filters. I was exactly who I was. And somebody picked it up and said, let's create a show around this.
When you talked about being yourself on social media, and a friend of mine told me this, which, I believe in it so much, because what you see on social media, what you see on television and so on, you're always comparing your insides with somebody else's outsides, right? And everybody else's outsides look great, and you're always sort of feeling, doubting your own insides. But what has it been like for you to really go out there and expose yourself to the world for who you are? What were the fears and the anxieties associated with just being able to do that?
I find it very exhausting to role play all the time. I think that's the simple one thing that I can think of. I find it very exhausting to wear multiple masks, to be different people through the day. I've now, because of the business I run and for the number of people that I interact with, I keep saying that I've become a little bit of a chameleon because I keep changing colors through the day. Sometimes I have to get a little emotional. Sometimes I have to be really stern. Sometimes I wear a creative hat. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, this lipstick sucks. It's never going to sell. So it's just different roles through the day, every hour. But I think it comes from just getting exhausted with being someone else. And the fact of the matter is, I know most of the people who look like they have these great lives on Instagram. I know the reality. I've had the opportunity and the privilege to share, a dinner table with some of the most interesting people in the world, especially in India, and they're all playing a part, in some way or the other. Maybe I am too, I don't know, but I just find that it's exhausting. It's very exhausting to be someone else. And I think at the end of the day, if you keep living up to a certain image, you become that. And then, when the arc lights are off and no one's interested in you and someone's interested in the next big thing, it's going to get very challenging. So I always say that keep who you are, keep your soul intact, and always have the ability to laugh at yourself. I think that's one thing.
Yeah, not taking yourself seriously is certainly something that I believe in, and I think that it works for me.
Yeah, take your work seriously, take everything around you seriously, but there's no need, like my mom tells me, she's like, nobody is thinking about you so much, just relax. It's true, nobody's thinking about you, nobody really cares. I mean, everyone's always thinking about themselves and what's happening in their world.
Yeah. I think we spend too much time thinking about what other people are thinking. And your mom's wise words from Neena Gupta: the world will move on, and it's not going to be consumed thinking about what's happening in your life. But what's the next big thing now, Masaba? Since you believe that you found purpose in your work now, you're a unabashedly, unapologetic workaholic. What's the next big thing for you?
The workaholic thing is also a very interesting part of my life, Shereen, because I've just become, it's almost like I'm angry about anyone who says they don't work. I just get very angry with them. You don't work, you don't have anything that you get up and want to achieve in the day. I find that very outlandish as a concept. I just find that women especially, right, we place our validation in the hands of men. We place our validation in the hands of our in-laws sometimes, or by the way we look, you know, or what someone says. When you walk into a room, someone says, oh, you've lost so much weight, you're looking great, you're glowing. It's validation, you know. Or you have attention from a man that is the man of your dreams, that's validation. Or if someone has said something derogatory about another woman that you don't like, to you, that's also validation.
Yeah.
So I think most often for women, our admiration, our fears, and our ambition is so misplaced. We just place it in the wrong hands. And I really believe that the one place it does belong is in your work. And it doesn't have to be you running a multi-billion-dollar company. It can be somebody who is a home baker. Could be somebody who's running a business of, you know, I mean, if you think of all the greatest brands, you think of something like Biba, for example. She started from her home. She started as someone who just made these little suits. You think of Ritu Kumar and Anita Dongre. You think of all these brilliant women. It's not that they started off thinking, oh, we're going to be these retail giants, you know. So I think you have to place your validation in the right hands. Firstly, it should belong with you.
Yeah.
And the only other place it should belong to is in the hands of your work. So if you put all your energies there, I swear everything else just falls into place. It really does. And I think that's where my drive to constantly do something new comes from. And as far as doing something new is concerned, I think we have a few new ventures coming up within the House of Masaba. So lots of category extensions that we're planning. And
on the wellness side, I know that is a huge area of interest for you.
It is, because I have seen my own life transform for the better through my wellness journey. And I think when women take care of themselves from the inside out, I think it's always better. It just results in so much more mind space. You have more focus. You can apply your mind to the right things. So I think it's a very, very powerful place to be in. But I'm thinking fine jewelry. I'm thinking more and more makeup and skincare. And there's one little surprise about some content creation that I want to do around the bridal market in India. So lots happening.
So there's plenty on the plate. I remember this comment that your dad made about finding the gaps, and that's how he played his game. And you're attempting to do that, aren't you?
Well, I can't say there's much of a gap in the bridal market in India.
Not in the bridal market, but
but in life, yes, I think so. I think it's interesting you say that, because when I started House of Masaba and someone said, why did you start this brand? I said it was to fill the gap between what to wear to a wedding and what to wear to, well, a wedding function. There was a gap there. And, you know, Indian designers never did that. If you talk about 10, 15 years back, you didn't do a runway show where you showcased what you're wearing, a pantsuit, for example. You never did that. It was very much centered between two markets. So I think for me, I've always said, you know, find the gap and go after it. That's very important.
So more film or OTT stuff, is that something that you're working towards as well? And did you enjoy doing that more than House of Masaba?
No.
No?
I love...
Why? Playing yourself wasn't as much fun?
No, I love what I do at House of Masaba. It is my peace and my joy. It is everything. When I go to office, some days I go and I'm deathly sick, and I just go there and I sit there and I feel miserable, but I love it. That's how much I love what I do. But I have to say, playing myself was exciting because I wanted to be an actor for so long, and it was like this silent dream that I never thought would get fulfilled. I didn't.
You
think
also
that.
wanted to be a tennis professional, and you gave that up because I remember you said that you didn't have the temperament for that.
I didn't have the temperament. I was a very You know, the thing is, I had all the physical attributes that one needs to be an athlete. So I thought that I'm strong. I literally, I have my father's body in that sense. I said, I'm strong. I have all the power I need to get the ball across, to be in a winning position, but I never had the temperament. My temper, my anger always got in the way of the control that I had on court. And which is why today I'm much calmer, I'm much more centered. I do everything I can to not lose that focus because I don't want that to come in the way of what I do. You know, I think tempers can ruin a lot more than we think. So it doesn't matter.
But it's also about control, isn't it? You know, and it's also about being able to control the outcome. So in that context, when this decision to go along with ABFRL came up, how hard was it? Because in a way, you're also giving up control. I mean, you continue to enjoy the creative control of the venture, but you were also bringing on someone or becoming part of a larger group in that sense. How hard was and how challenging was that for you?
You know, Shereen, interestingly, I was ready for about 3 years before the ABFRL deal happened. I'll tell you why. I was ready, well, I have to say, when I was about 23. I had moved to Delhi and I was the creative head at Satyapal there. And there was a company called Genesis Colors that was that had bought over Satyapal. And I remember thinking this is going to be very challenging because I'm a 23-year-old creative girl, potentially no business acumen, and I'm going to be told what to do by a bunch of corporate guys. And my whole team, my design team, was 10 years older than I was. So it was a very interesting setup, but I think that set me up for life. I didn't get the opportunity to do an internship, so for me that was the only training I could get. I was there 2 years. And when I went there and I started to get into the system, I realized how interesting it is when corporate and creative marry. It's magic. But if you have the stomach for it, and if you have the ambition for it, there's lots of young creative people who are happy being small boutique brands, and that's okay. But if you have an ambition where you want to be much more, I think you need to tie up with someone like an Aditya Birla in this case. And I think that the one thing that they told me proactively was that, listen, you run this the way you've been running this. We're here if you need us. Pretend we're not here if you don't need us. So I think that was very comforting for me. Until today, we run it exactly like the little intimate shop that it used to be for all these years. And I could not have made a better decision because it's like putting your dreams on wheels to tie up with the corporate. It is.
An intimate shop with big ambitions and big aspirations. So where do you see the House of Masaba over the next 5 years?
The next 5 years, wow, I hope there's no other wave of something that we didn't see coming like it did. But, well, definitely we will have a much stronger retail footprint across India and globally. We're currently at about 17 stores across India. The plan is to go to about 35 to 40 in the next couple of years. And apart from that, we have lots of interesting category extensions planned, like I told you. So we are moving slowly but surely into the luxury space because I think India has become so dynamic right now. And I used to keep saying this. I said, you know, people like to go to the West and for them they feel happy when they open a store in New York or in Dubai. And I'm so happy with Khan Market. I am thrilled when I get a store at Khan Market.
Is very happy with you being there as well.
Oh, I love it. And or Mehrauli or Kala Ghoda for that matter, or, Qadar Nawaz Khan Road in Chennai. For me, these are the spots where India is really, it's booming. And you look at the whole sort of population under 35 that has just about come into money and they're getting their first paychecks, etc. And they're also some of them founders. It is such an interesting time to be in India and to do business in India. So the plan is to very much plant my feet here in a firmer way. And of course, Love Child that's the one that's on a rocket ship, that brand, because we just launched a shopper stop across India offline. And the plan is to be available in about 20 to 30 shop in shops across India in the beauty space.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck with that, Masaba. But you know, since we're talking about ambition and we're talking about identity as well, I remember you said that children should not have to take on the baggage of their parents. And growing up as you did, as the love child, as that became your identity and your story, what has it been like for you to really reclaim Masaba from that narrative?
I think, you know, when I say it's important that kids don't take on the baggage of their parents, it's because it's both the good and the bad. You know, sometimes your parents are just so aggressive and so street smart, and, you know, they pass that on to you, and then you become that, your version of that. Or there is one side where, you know, they have all these insecurities and everything that then gets passed on to you. But I think as we keep growing, we have to keep shedding some of our skin. That's very important. And I think the more I shed my skin, the more I become Masaba, because I think all these years I've just been a version of my parents. Not just my biological parents, even my stepfather, who's been very, very instrumental in explaining to me how the business world works. And I'm extremely close to him. So I think all of us are little, I keep saying I'm like a Lego piece that's been created of my parents. And as I keep chipping some of that away and keep becoming my own person and keep seeing my parents for who they are now that they're getting older and they're shedding some of their skin, it's so interesting. You know, like my father is so much more softer today. He's not the same person he was when he was playing cricket actively, because you need a different kind of, you need to be very thick-skinned when you're playing cricket at that time. Also with the amount of racism that was there when he was playing. My mother, with everything society put her through. And I just think you have to keep shedding your skin and keep evolving and keep being very, very critical of yourself. And I say this in a very positive way. It's better not to be delusional about who you are.
No, I agree with you. But, you know, you were talking about parents. Who's cooler, Masaba Gupta or Neena Gupta?
Oh, Neena Gupta, hands down. She's the coolest.
Yeah, her Instagram is on fire.
Her life is on fire, I'll tell you that. Have you ever spoken to her at 7 in the morning? She's the same person. She's the same person, and she is, yeah, like I was leaving the house today and I sent her a picture of my look and she said, "Why do you girls tie your hair so tight? Don't you get a headache?" So she's just that. She's like, "Yeah, you look okay, it's fine. It's a pantsuit for a business event, path-breaking."
But,
how do you beat that?
You look path-breaking. You look like a trailblazer, Masaba. But I'm going to throw this open to 2 questions. So if you do have one, please raise your hands. We're going to try and get a microphone across to you. Very quickly, anyone here has a question for Masaba? And while we get the mics. Yeah, I know. Yes? No? Well, come on, Parmesh. You always have a question. Okay, so we're right here. Radhika Parmesh is right here.
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much for everything that you do. We took a spot poll here, and like Masaba season 2 was really good. So with all the other ambitious things that you're doing, I hope you're doing season 3 and season 4 and not depriving us of all of that pleasure in our life as well.
You're going to have to ask Netflix this question because they will literally kill me if I answer, but I really hope so. I really hope so. Because I enjoyed it so much too. But if not that, maybe something else. I'll find something else to do.
I'm sure there are plenty of... Have others come your way now, post Masaba?
Well, I did Modern Love when I played a fictional character there, which was interesting. But no, you know, there's a type.
There's a type?
There's a type in Bollywood. Let that type do its thing, I'll do my thing.
Well, we hope that you continue to do your thing, but Masaba, there's one thing that you would like to leave everyone who's here in the room and everyone who's watching on TV and online. You know, the biggest realization that you've had or the biggest lesson that you've learned over the course of your career and your life that you'd like to share with us?
Wow, there's so many. I fall short when I have to say this on stage. I think keep your chin up. And no matter how you feel, show up. I really believe in that. I think it's just showing up the next day after feeling whatever you're feeling with a clean slate. There's a lot of power in that, because when you show up, I think the universe shows up for you.
Well, the universe is showing up for you in every possible way. Masaba Gupta, an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. We wish you the very best of luck with everything else that you're planning to do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Masaba.
Thank you, Masaba. Thank you, Shereen, for that insightful, enriching and very fun conversation. Shereen would request you to kindly honor Masaba now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to applaud Masaba's incredible resilience and unwavering determination.
Oh, that's mine. This is my time.